What is going on, guys? Your boy Ryan here. We are live on the channel. What is going on? Shout out to all the new subscribers. We're literally 3 subscribers away from 1,600. Thank you guys so much for your undying support. I appreciate every last one of you and all your support. Thank you so very much. Let's go ahead and announce a few things before we get into the topic. Number 1, VidKid, I got your info. Thank you for everything. If you didn't see my message, I got your info. I'm going to be hopefully sending that out to you this afternoon, so hopefully it reaches you pretty fast. So congratulations again on the giveaway. Congratulations. Number 2, we're going to be live on the for the podcast tonight. Obviously, as we call ourselves the Truth Network Podcast, TMP Podcast, if you want to be specific. What we do is we do gaming news and everything on the podcast, and we give you the just our impressions of everything that's going on in gaming and everything. We hit you up with a good chunk of facts and everything. We be live, and we tell you how it is, man, on the network. So picture me in my videos, but with a bunch of other people, and we just we're just truthful about everything we say. So that's what we're going to be doing live on the channel. 8 o'clock, obviously, I'm going to be there with King Thrash Gaming. I'm going to be there with MVP Magazine if he gets up, goon. Big Buddy, I'm going to be there with Cray the Gatekeeper. I'm going to be there with Double Shooter. Shout out to Double Shooter. He's in college, man. He's doing good. I'm proud of him. He's in college. He's better in his life, so I'm very, very proud of Double Shooter. He's hitting them books, so very proud of Double Shooter. And Jack. So that's what I'm going to be live with. We're going to be with you guys 8 o'clock, and we're going to be, just chilling with you guys, all right? So with that being said, the poll results are in. A lot of you guys want me to talk about the PS4 versus the Xbox One X in terms of, who's going to win, basically. And I actually had another option on there, which got a good amount of view, or a good amount of it hit a good milestone on the poll, which was the Forza 7 microtransactions. So I figured I'm going to do both of those. A lot of you really want me to see that, so let me go ahead and talk about that real quick. If you didn't know, Forza 7, a game that was hyped up the wazoo. Now, again, you guys can quote me. You guys look at my older videos. I've said it numerous times on the channel. I think Forza 7 looks beautiful on the Xbox One X. I think it looks great. The problem with Forza is the fact that it's Forza. It's the exact same game that we played before in beforehand. It's the exact same game. Sure, it has a 4K texture pack on it, and it looks, glorious in 4K, sure, but that's really about it. That doesn't really tell me much about the console, other than the fact that it can run a racing simulator. Keep in mind, racing simulators are not very demanding, especially for hardware like a PS4 Pro and Xbox One. It's not really that demanding, okay? But it's cool that the game looks the way it does. It looks good. It looks good. I mean, I can't deny that. The game looks good. But Microsoft officially copied Call of Duty going into this console, or going into this game's development. If you didn't know, Forza 7 has a new crate system, or they're called loot crates. Now, what are the loot crates? Picture, if you guys are familiar with Rocket League, actually, let me put Rocket League on the side. If you guys are familiar with Call of Duty had these things called supply drops. Now, supply drops in Call of Duty are basically cosmetics in the game, which include decals for your gun, special decals for your guns, actual guns itself, and cosmetics for your suit, different layouts and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? Banners and stuff like that. That's what is in the supply drops for Call of Duty. You look at Forza. Forza is doing the exact same thing. Now, I know a lot of people are going to go, wait, Ryan, Call of Duty only has like three different tiers when it comes to supply drops. And yes, you were very right. Call of Duty has your simple, supply drop, which gives you a chance at a very legendary weapon, which is basically a as in the rare supply drops, which ironically you still get commons. You see how that's how they scam you on Call of Duty. They have 3 different tiers. They have rare, they have common, and then they have the they have rare, common, and then they have like the legendary or something like that. They have so many different crates now for the Black Ops 3. I haven't played in a long time, but again, they have that. And ironically, it tells you in the fine print of the of the crate where it says, okay, this crate gives you the chance to get a legendary and less chance of getting commons. Yet when you open that crate, you get a bunch of commons and no legendary. See what I'm saying? With Call of Duty, that's how they scam you with these supply drops. You look at this Forza thing. Forza has about, I would say, I lost count at probably like 6 different types of crates. And you know what those crates remind me of? Rocket League. Now, a lot of people wonder why I'm throwing Rocket League in this. Rocket League has a bunch of different crates. They have the Overdrive crate, they have the Turbo crate, they have the Accelerator crate, they have the Nitro crate, they got the, God, there's so many crates. A lot of crates, man, but they got a lot of crates. And basically, I know a lot of people going, well, okay, you list a bunch of crates, but what's that do? Well, it's a way of doing it, okay? And you can, like, Forza can do these crate system. They can do the crate system if they do it right. For example, Rocket League does it right. Number one, when you get something out of a crate from Rocket League, you can A, trade up all the stuff that you got in your inventory for a chance to get something that you really wanted out of the crate period. For example, if you have 2 very rares, you can trade them up to get to get an actual rare or a legendary, or whatever you want to call it, wheel, if you want that and everything like that. So you can trade these things up in Rocket League for a chance to get what you really want. You can do that. Forza, well, Forza's kind of going down the Call of Duty route. Call of Duty route is like you can't trade anything up, and you're just basically stuck with what you got, from what I'm hearing from the Forza side. So basically, in these crates, you have, you know, cars that are in these crates. You got different suits and everything for your character. You got helmets, gloves, everything like of that nature, rares and everything like that of that nature. And when you add all that together, right? You can play. Now, again, you don't necessarily have to buy these crates, but that's the trick with Call of Duty as well. And I guarantee you, if this crate system starts taking off, they're going to give the points that you get per race. But you get 10,000 points per race, okay? 10,000 points per race. So 2 races, you can open the $20,000 crate, which is basically, you know, CR points. They're called CR points. So you can open the 20,000 CR point crate after 2 races and go up from there. You have 150,000 CR crate, 300,000 CR crate, and so on and so on. And you can pay for those crates, you know, with your time that you put into the game to open them. However, let's be real here. Casuals might bite the hook and buy for these crates to open these crates, and then ruin the experience for you and the consumer in the long run, because one, they're going to give the actual points you get per race for just you know, to basically force you to invest in these crates to give them more money for a chance of you getting something as silly like a clown outfit for your driver. So they might very well do that if this takes off. And, you know, do not be shocked if it happens. Do not be shocked. I mean, it is what it is. Now, again, I really do hope they do not go down that route. I really don't, because that's not good at all. That's just going to doom the game for the most part. So, you know, that's pretty much my stance on it. I'm not really going to rant about it. I'm just going to give you the heads up. And I'm going to leave it to you to take it as you will. You know, usually a lot of people are going to rant about it. I'm seeing a lot of people ranting about it. So I'm just going to be real with you, man. I said it before. A lot of the fanboys claim Microsoft's for the gamer. Well, I think you might want to reevaluate what you just saw. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the PlayStation 4 versus the Xbox One. The first thing we're going to talk about is the spec sheet. So let's go ahead and roll over to the spec sheet. All right, let's go ahead and talk about these specs, ladies and gentlemen. Fairly simple. Let's go to left from right. We have the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro. If we still look at the price points of both consoles, the Xbox One X is $100 more than the PS4 Pro. The CPU on the Xbox One X, let's go ahead and look at this. I want you to pay close attention to this. It says 8 custom x86 cores clocked at 2.3 gigahertz, integrated AMD graphics with 6 teraflops of performance. Whereas the PS4 Pro, it says 2.1 gigahertz, 8-core AMD custom Jaguar CPU, integrated AMD Polaris graphics with 4.2 teraflops of performance. Now notice, on the PS4 Pro, it actually tells you the legit everything. Why do you think it says 8 custom everything like this on the Xbox One X? I'll tell you, because it's the exact same as the PS4 Pro. It's called trickery, ladies and gentlemen. They go with a lot. Microsoft is known for trickery when it comes to consumers and hyping them up. Instead of saying it's the exact same CPU as the PS4 Pro, because they know that will hurt sales, they wanted to do this particular way. And I mean, hey, people bite the hook, so it is what it is. But basically, What are teraflops? If you look at 6 teraflops versus 4, you know, because you guys see that everywhere you go with fanboys, 6 over 4 teraflops. Well, it's very simple what a teraflop is. A teraflop is basically the computing speed of a CPU. So the CPU of the Xbox One X has 6 teraflops over the PS4 Pro CPU, which has 4.2. Basically, the Xbox One X's CPU is faster than the CPU on the PS4 Pro. That's about it. Now let's go into the RAM. The Xbox One X has 12 gigabytes of GDDR5 RAM. The PS4 Pro has 8 gigabytes of GDDR5 RAMs. They both have a terabyte hard drive. Let's see. They both have, okay, they don't, okay, that's right. That's the only difference. The Xbox One X has an optical drive, a 4K legit drive, and the PS4 Pro has a Blu-ray drive. So that's pretty much it in terms of specs. Looking at the specs right off the bat, there isn't really that much of a difference. Both of them use the exact CPU, only one's clocked a little higher, and the main difference between the consoles really is the price point and the RAM, if you really look at it. Of course, if you want to throw the CPU, if you want to throw the whole CPU performance of 6 teraflops over 4, then I'll throw that in there as well. But nonetheless, if you look at the specs, it's not anything to jump out your seat over with, nothing at all. It's really nothing to go, oh my God, this is going to give me everything. No, it's not. You see, even though it has slight improvements over the PS4 Pro, it lacks what really matters, and that is games. You can have all the specs in the world, but you don't have games. And that's what really matters on the gaming market. You can have all the specs in the world. This thing could have the specs of a GTX 1070. If you can have the specs of a GTX 1070 and you can't so much as pump out a true exclusive that shows, hey, look, this is what this thing can do, as opposed to being lazy and relying on third-party devs to do the work for you, well, that right there just puts you in a slump and makes you look, you know, that much more pathetic in the long run. So that's the problem with Microsoft and the Xbox One X. But again, that's something that you just gotta see really with your own eyes to believe. But I mean, it is what it is with the Xbox One X. You know what I'm saying? I beat that horse to death. Another thing with the Xbox One X over the PS4 Pro, if you look, again, when we look at the RAM and everything, exact same thing, only more. So it's faster. Obviously, more RAM can mean a lot of things. Number one, faster boot up times and everything like that. Faster processing, obviously, and things of that nature, less pop-ups in games, and a few other things like that. But that's really about it. The main standout thing that I can really think of is the GPU. The GPU in the Xbox One X is probably the best thing on the console compared to Sony's PS4 Pro. The GPU is better than the PS4 Pro, substantially better. It's basically the main thing that's bumping up the price to $500 on the Xbox One X, whereas the CPU, again, makes the console irrelevant in a such when in terms of that GPU. The GPU is great, right? But when I said it before and I explained this before, when you have a very high quality GPU that performs at a very, very high note, when you have a CPU that can't handle the high note of that GPU, the GPU has to scale down and quote unquote have a bottleneck. If you don't know what a bottleneck is basically where your console limits the GPU for the CPU's performance. The CPU can only do so much. If you go beyond the bottleneck, well, you're gonna look at a CPU catching flames and everything like that. So a CPU needs to dumb down the performance of the GPU to handle everything that's on screen. So when it does that, you're not gonna have that much of what people are hyping up. Now again, GPU is better than the PS4 Pro, but that again, that's not really saying much. Yes, it can have a better GPU and everything, but again, still has the same CPU. So what does that mean? Most of the games you're going to see have the exact same performance, if not better on the Xbox One X. Sure, it's clocked a little higher, and the GPU can substantiate a lot of what the CPU is doing and give it a little bit more leg room and everything like that. I mean, you guys saw with Rise of the Tomb Raider. Rise of the Tomb Raider still, ran pretty good, even though it suffered from a few bad screen tearing, actually not a few bad, a really bad screen tearing, and a few frames drop and everything like that. But one thing that's very telling about the Xbox One X, and it kind of makes me wonder, did they build this thing for checkerboard rendering, or did they really build this thing as a 4K beast? Because I'm telling you right now, when you look at Rise of the Tomb Raider on the Xbox One X versus the PS4 Pro's version of the checkerboard rendered version, the PS4 rendered version of Rise of the Tomb Raider at checkerboard rendering, they both run great, right? They're both high in the numbers there. Unfortunately, the PS4 Pro suffers from drops, obviously. It suffers from drops. The Xbox One X version of checkerboard rendered 4K runs at a flawless 4K or checkerboard 4K 30. So, again, that kind of makes me wonder, did they really focus on 4K, or did they really just push the checkerboard aspect and then they just put 4K on the box? Something tells me they really pushed the 4K, dynamic range over the true 4K. But nonetheless, people don't want, again, that's all speculation. That's all speculation. I can't really go out and say that, but it is speculation. Yes, games are 4K here and there on the Xbox One X, but again, that's not saying much at all. You can't rely on third-party games with these type of specs. You need to have your own first-party talent. And with that being said, I mean, let's just get back to the video. Not much need to be said. Alrighty, so you guys saw that. Now, again, all that seems good on paper. Yes, all that seems good on paper. But let's be real here. The only difference that you really see on paper is the RAM. Okay? The RAM is one, you see, and pretty much the GPU. That's pretty much it. I guess you can count the teraflops, but really, let's be real here. Teraflops are nothing but, it's basically the computing speed of the console, how fast the system computes everything. So it's like, again, it's not like it actually, it's powerful, like in terms of, oh, that's more powerful. No, that's computing speed, ladies and gentlemen. It's computing speed. But if we count that into consideration, right? Do you really think casuals look at the spec sheet? Do casuals look at the spec sheet of a PS4 Pro and Xbox One X? No, they don't. The main thing a casual looks at on the Xbox One X, a PS4 Pro, etc., Nintendo Switch, they don't care about the specs. All they care about is games. Games, 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 games. So, I'm actually going to do a little bit of a cheat right there with this one right here. It's going to be a little bit of a cheat to save me some time. But don't worry, it's going to be fairly good. You guys are familiar with this particular clip. I played it a long time ago, and I think it's worth bringing up again. Note that this particular clip of games is missing a few. It's missing Yakuza, it's missing, if I'm not mistaken, Killer Instinct, and a few others. But nonetheless, it should already make the point stand very clear that, in terms of value, that a PlayStation 4 Pro offers way more than an Xbox One X and an Xbox. And especially we factor in a few things like the Xbox Play Anywhere, program, where basically if you got a console, or if you bought the console version of a game, you basically got it on PC. So really, that particular thing is just dooming the console in the long run. But nonetheless, I mean, we can all agree to disagree, I guess you can say, that, things can be different. But again, it's all a matter of, I can't say preference. It's just a matter of, what's for you. There you go. What's really for you? Do you value a console that's just powerful and has no games, or do you value a console that has games, as well as decent power with a bunch of more first-party games on their side? That comes up to you. So again, when I compare the PS4 Pro to the Xbox One X, well, I immediately go to where the games are. So, in terms of games, I'm going to go ahead before I end this video. The PS4 Pro offers 3 times more games than the Xbox One X and Xbox One. And on top of that, all their games, you need a PS4 Pro or a PS4 to actually play those particular games. And I mean legit play those particular games. Not no streaming. Let's be real here. All the morons saying, I can stream these games are not using this feature because they know, just like I know because I tried it day one, that the streaming service for PlayStation Now is absolute trash. So we're not going to go ahead and throw that in here, okay? We're just going to be reasonable on this. When we talk about overall games, you need a PS4 Pro or a PS4 to play every single game that's on the PS4 and Xbox One. So with that being said, that's pretty much it. I'm going to go ahead and play the video so you guys can see how many games are necessarily not coming to the Xbox, or not, I can't really say not coming to the Xbox, but you can see the lack, there's the better word, the lack of games on the Xbox One compared to the PS4 and even the Nintendo Switch, okay? So you're going to see all games on that so far, minus a few. I'm going to give you a heads up. It's going to be minus a few, but nonetheless, this point should make it, you know, this point's going to stand pretty well if you think about it. Anyway, that's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'm out of here. You guys have a good one. I'll see you guys tonight. Thank you guys again for all your support, and that's pretty much it. Not much I need to say after this. Not much. It's pretty self-explanatory. Yeah, pretty self-explanatory, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get some damage control out of nowhere. But hey, that's the price I pay for being a YouTuber, for being truthful on the internet, as opposed to me lying through my teeth. So anyway, I'll see you guys tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm out of here. Deuces.
The first big exclusive that the console launched with was Dead Rising 3 on November 22nd, 2013, a title that came out on PC a year later. Alongside Dead Rising, the console launched with the shitty Kinect game Fighter Within, a forgettable golf game called Power Star Golf, Forza Motorsport 5, and Rise Son of Rome. So basically, Xbox One launched with 3 noteworthy titles, Dead Rising, Forza, and Rise, but none were what you would consider must-haves or console sellers. From there, not a single new exclusive until 5 months later on April 8th, 2014, and even then it was just Kinect Sports Rivals, which who gives a fuck about? Then, after 5 months on September 2nd, 2014, another exclusive that nobody gave 2 shits about came out, Dance Central Spotlight. We did eventually get Forza Horizon 2 later that month on September 30th, 2014 for both Xbox 360 and Xbox One. And it got good reviews and all, but once again, not a console seller. The following month, October 2014, also saw the release of the Xbox One exclusive open-world shooter Sunset Overdrive, which was positively received, but not a must-have either. Xbox One finished 2014 off by releasing Halo the Master Chief Collection in preparation for the launch of Halo 5 next year. So basically, 1 year of the console's life cycle passed without a single brand new killer first-party or exclusive game. Now, to be fair, in the same time period, PlayStation 4 was also struggling with exclusives. By September 2014, the only exclusives Sony had released were a re-release of Flower, Killzone Shadowfall, Knack, Infamous Second Son, The Last of Us Remastered, Drive Club, and Little Big Planet 3. Overall, a year into their life cycle, neither platform had a new exclusive title that could be considered a must-have or a console seller. This brings us to 2015. Most of the year's exclusives were only comprised of Kinect games like Fruit Ninja Kinect 2, a compilation of classic games through a title called Rare Replay, and another Forza game, Motorsport 6. But a big turning point finally came when Halo 5 Guardians finally launched on October 27th, 2015. Unfortunately, while the game sold well and was generally received positively by critics, it wasn't acclaimed in a way that past entries in the series were. It did push units, but it didn't quite reach must-have status. It wasn't a game that was going to convert people, if you will. Not to mention that the game got some backlash from fans, particularly where the single-player campaign and story were concerned. All in all, most agreed that while Halo 5 wasn't a mechanically bad game by any means, it wasn't a major turning point for the series, and it didn't quite live up to expectations either. Within the same year, Sony released 2 major exclusives for PlayStation 4, The Order 1886 on February 20th and Bloodborne on March 24th. The Order was a massive disappointment, but Bloodborne finally gave the PlayStation 4 the first truly exclusive, must-own console seller title. It was easily one of the best games of the year. Alongside those two, Sony also released a remastered version of Last of Us Left Behind, a PS4 port of Journey, the adventure game Until Dawn, an expanded remake of Tearaway called Tearaway Unfolded, Uncharted: The Nathan Drake Collection, and Fat Princess Adventures. At this point, it was pretty clear that PlayStation 4 was beginning to edge out Xbox One in not just quantity of exclusives, but also in variety. Thus, 2015 came to an end, which brings us to 2016, the year in which PS4 would assert its dominance over Xbox One on the console market. Throughout 2016, noteworthy exclusives for Xbox One were the average Quantum Break, the mediocre Recore, the acclaimed Forza Horizon 3, the well-received Gears of War 4, and the meh Dead Rising 4. Unfortunately, none of these titles were what you could call console sellers or must-haves. It also didn't help Xbox One's case that all 4 of these exclusives were also released on PC. You may recall that 2016 was the year when Microsoft, in an attempt to unify Xbox and Windows, announced the Xbox Play Anywhere initiative, which allowed any game labeled as Play Anywhere to be played on both Xbox and PC with just one purchase. Microsoft also promised that moving forward, all of their exclusive Xbox titles would be Play Anywhere, meaning that they would all come to PC as well. It's a pretty amazing service, but the problem is that it gives people less incentive to go out and purchase an Xbox One. While it's an awesome proposition from a consumer standpoint, it felt like Microsoft shot itself in the foot from a business standpoint. Now, let's look at how PS4 fared the same year. Noteworthy exclusive releases include a port of PS Vita's Gravity Rush, a port of PS3's Heavy Rain, the well-received Ratchet & Clank, the acclaimed and console seller Uncharted 4: A Thief's End, The Last Guardian, Street Fighter V, and the compelling but ultimately disappointing No Man's Sky. Of these 7 exclusives, only 2 of them were also released on PC, 2 of them were available on other Sony consoles, and the remaining 3 were PS4 only. So in 2016, once again, PlayStation 4 widened the gap in the quantity, quality, and variety of exclusives. Thus concluded 2016, which finally brings us to our current year, 2017, the saddest year yet for Xbox One. The only notable exclusives this year are the already released Halo Wars 2 and the upcoming Forza Motorsport 7 and Super Lucky's Tale. I would list Crackdown 3, but that game recently got delayed to 2018. It doesn't help that due to the double-edged Play Anywhere initiative, all 4 of these games are or will be available on PC. Now, let's take a look at PlayStation 4's list of notable exclusives for 2017. This year has already played host to Gravity Rush 2, Kingdom Hearts HD re-releases, Yakuza 0, Neo, Horizon Zero Dawn, Nier Automata, Danganronpa 1 and 2 Reload, Persona 5, Wipeout Omega Collection, Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, Final Fantasy XII The Zodiac Age, Pyre, Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice, Lawbreakers, Undertale, and Uncharted Lost Legacy. We are also still waiting on 2 more exclusives, Knack 2 and Gran Turismo Sport. Of these 18 exclusive titles, only 6 are also available on PC, only 3 are available on other Sony consoles, and the remaining 9 are only available on PS4. There is no other way to say this, PlayStation utterly decimated Xbox in 2017, both in exclusives and sales. Oh, and it gets worse. 2017 was also the year in which Nintendo finally released their new console, the Switch. Only 5 months into the console's launch, and they've already released notable exclusives like Zelda Breath of the Wild, Snipperclips, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Ultra Street Fighter 2 The Final Challengers, ARMS, Splatoon 2, and Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, with upcoming exclusives for the remainder of the year including Pokken Tournament DX, Fire Emblem Warriors, Super Mario Odyssey, and Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Of these 11 exclusive titles, all of them are Nintendo exclusive. Only 3 of them are also available on Wii U, and the remaining 8 are only available on Switch. Some people like to claim that Switch has no games, but this might be one of the best launch years in history. If you think about it, the Switch launched right out of the gate with a must-have console seller title like Zelda Breath of the Wild, one of the highest rated games of all time. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe easily pushed millions, and Splatoon 2, a phenomenon in Japan by the way, only sweetened the pot. Mario Odyssey isn't even out yet, and after having dominated the E3 2017 Game Critics Awards, it seems to be on its way to becoming yet another must-have and console seller for Switch. All things considered, we are talking about 4 varied must-have console seller exclusives in less than a year.